And welcome back. Nothing like a busy Monday to make us forget the weekend. But it's not all work. We do the news and we gamify it when we can, like right now. Tonight's game, big deal or no big deal. So I'll tee up some of the big topics we're covering and the panel will lay it out. Is it a big deal or no big deal? So our most excellent panel is back with us. We have Independent Women Fellow Nicole Krylov, NTD News producer Paul Graney, and NTD political correspondent Chris Bobb. Thank you all for being here. Let's dive right on in. So days after several major artists, including Young MC, Martina McBride, and Bret Michaels pulled out of the Great American State Fair, President Trump announced he's organizing a rally instead. The president said he will deliver a major speech rallying the country forward like I've done since day one. Nicole, big deal, no big deal?
So it's a big deal. I think it's a very big deal because Donald Trump continues to be the gravitational center of American politics and American culture. And this is another opportunity to talk about all of the incredible things that the president has accomplished. All of them are a big deal. Securing the border, expanding domestic energy production, strengthening our military, massive deregulation. The list goes on and on. So that's a very big deal. I will cheat a little bit. The no big deal part of this is that all of these irrelevant artists who I don't even know will not be...
The third rate.
Will not be involved. That is not a big deal. No one cares.
All right, Paul?
I think it's a big deal purely because it's such a shame that everything in America has become viewed through a political lens. You know, like America's birthday, it should be the time for Americans to come together and forget about politics for one day at least. Right, like Vanilla Ice, he made this point when he was asked, well, why are you still performing? He said, to me, it doesn't matter who the president is. You know, this is about America, this is about celebrating, and then he said it's about dancing, right?
Carrie Underwood.
And yeah, absolutely, you know, and so I think that obviously the people who dropped out, they didn't want to take part in something that President Trump was part of, but for whatever reason, okay? But it's just, it's a shame, and I really feel that if we can move past this eventually, we can start out much better.
You know, I had an optimistic look going into this. I thought Martina McBride was going to come out, you know, with a guitar and sing "I've Never Promised You a Rose Garden," the famous hit of hers, and then you'd get a shot of the ballroom being constructed where it was. But no, Trump is going to do exactly what she said earlier. He's going to list off his accomplishments probably, and he'll have a huge captive audience there that is happy to hear it.
Big deal, no big deal?
Big deal.
All right.
Big deal.
Let's wait for the little graphic to go up on screen. All right, let's move on to the next topic. There is a full-blown war happening inside CBS News. That's after Bari Weiss fired 60 Minutes top producer and several reporters and named Nick Bilton as the new executive producer. He's a longtime correspondent, Scott Pelley, today saying, we have a graphic for this actually on screen, that Bari Weiss is murdering 60 Minutes. He added, she does not love this place. She was brought in to kill it, and she's doing exactly that. Chris, big deal or no big deal?
No big deal. It's no big deal that they're doing a little shuffle. I mean, under Bari Weiss's leadership, I think 60 Minutes has seen an increase in viewership by over 100%. So that's pretty good. They have expanded since she took over in 2025. 60 Minutes is a long-running show, like 50-something years. And you know, people are going to find ways to complain about things. But I think this is probably a step in the right direction. I saw on the congressional side, Bernie Sanders wasn't happy about this. One of the few 60-minute viewers we can expect to be unhappy about this. But you know, people are going to read into it. They're going to say that 60 Minutes is, and CBS generally, is going through a right-wing takeover or something like that under the direction and auspices of Bari Weiss and the Ellisons. But I think they've done a lot of good work recently, and I'm happy to see what comes out of it.
All right, Paul, big deal, no big deal?
I think it's no big deal as well. Look, the entire media landscape is changing. The way people consume news, the way people get their content is all changing. Bari Weiss was put in there to try and navigate this landscape and bring CBS better out the other side of it. And so I think she has every right to make bold decisions. In fact, I really think she needs to. And look, 60 Minutes has had its fair share of controversy recently. You know, and I think that anybody who's concerned about anything should be more concerned about righting those wrongs over what style or form that 60 Minutes is going to take in the future.
Nicole?
I think it's a very big deal. I think it's incredible that Bari Weiss is trying to restore journalistic integrity at CBS. I think she's trying to pivot away from 60 Minutes kind of traditionally being a PR machine essentially for the far left. And I think that's a huge deal, and that's why she's getting so much heat for it. I think it's a huge deal that Sharon Alfonsi was fired. If you remember, to your point about recent controversy, she was going to release that CCOT piece on 60 Minutes about how Venezuelan men are enduring massive abuse and atrocities at CCOT in El Salvador, when there would have been absolutely no mention of who these people, these murderers and rapists and traffickers are, and how many Americans have been killed as a result of open borders and some of these heinous individuals at CCOT. And that's why Bari Weiss told Sharon Alfonsi, we need more context and reporting, which is what 60 Minutes should be all about.
And speaking of potential big changes, a meteor about 3 feet wide exploded in the atmosphere over Massachusetts on Saturday, creating a loud boom heard by many residents. I actually have footage of that exploding, so let's watch that now. Right, so NASA weighed in, saying the blast released energy equivalent to about 300 tons of TNT, not TMT, which is this show. Now, this is the second similar event this month after one was reported over Sydney, Australia. Paul, let's start with you. Big deal, no big deal?
I think it's no big deal just because it didn't explode near my home. But to be honest, I feel that always when I hear these stories about space, we hear much more now with Elon Musk and NASA, even the alien releases, UFO releases. I feel that it gives people a sense that there's more going on than just we see in DC and Wall Street. And I feel the more we could have this sense of wonder, I think it's only good for everyone.
All right, Nicole.
I'm going to break from my big deal streak. No big deal. I think to your point about technology, and I think social media has kind of skewed our perception of risk. If this were happening years ago, even just 5-10 years ago, I don't think anyone would be talking about it or really noticing it. But now everyone's kind of talking about it for a few days because, there's this kind of rage baiting and hysteria culture in social media that has taken hold.
Chris?
No big deal. I mean, I'm not an astrology person. I don't know if this is an omen of the future or something like that. We're going to expect something soon. Maybe it's a musical prelude to Trump giving his oration that we're about going to see. But, I think that, the only thing I'll say is the reaction that we got at the top of the thing, I would have done so much worse. I would have been in a bunker when I heard that. It's like a cannon going off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's, meteor
300
hits.
pounds of TNT.
Yeah, okay.
That's a lot of TNT.
Cool. Again, Massachusetts, I'm in New York. It is what it is. Sorry, guys.
Well, hopefully we don't end up like the dinosaurs.
No.
But
Yeah.
Chris, Nicole, and Paul, thank you so much for joining us in gamifying the news.